Hello everyone, happy National Book Lovers Day. Yes, I didn't realize it. I was on the internet checking my emails and just checking up on the news, and I saw it was National Book Lovers Day today, so there you go. So yeah, I have all my bookkeeping done, so I am going to go out after this and read my book, and the puppies have their annual vet appointment this afternoon, so that should be interesting. And so I thought, what a perfect day to do a bit of a book haul. Some of the books I've purchased over the past couple of weeks, and some are from Costco, Amazon, a lot from Bookoutlet. Not sure there's thrift stores in here or not. And I'm going to start with the first book, and this one I actually found in HomeSense and Winners. You are able to find some books there, hardback or softcover. This one happened to be a hardcover, and it was $7.99, and it's called A Girl Made of Air by Nydia Hetherington, and it is a beautiful gold foiled cover there, and this takes place in a circus. So this young woman, she was born into a legendary circus family, and she didn't have a lot of talents or something like that, so she was kind of ignored for quite a bit. Now as an adult, she was haunted by an incident in which a child was lost from the circus, and she weaves together her spellbinding tales of circus legends, earthly magic, and folklore, all in the hope of finding the child. So yes, once in a while you are able to find some pretty good books there. Now I did order this off Amazon, and it was on for a really good price. It's a fairly new release, and BookTube is really loving on this one. And this is by J.M. Miro, and it is called Ordinary Monsters. And it's got a really cool cover there. So this is sort of like a cross between Harry Potter and X-Men, I guess you could say. Yeah, it's chunky. It's a chunky little one. I think it's about 650 pages. It takes place in England in 1882, Victorian England, which I just love that setting. So these two children with mysterious powers are hunted by a figure of darkness, a man made of smoke. So yeah, I've heard very, very good things about it, and sometimes Amazon has like new releases on for a fairly decent price. So I thought I would just treat myself because I heard good things about it, and I just loved the synopsis. So that's Ordinary Monsters. And then this is from Costco. So I did get the second book in the Inheritance Games novel, and I don't know where my Inheritance Game novel went to. I set it out. But anyway, this is the second book in the Inheritance Games novel. Jennifer Hillier, and I've heard very good things about this one. This is Things We Do in the Dark. And I have yet to read her other book, Little Secrets. When Paris is arrested in her own bathroom, covered in blood, holding a straight razor, her celebrity husband dead in the bathtub behind her, she knows she'll be charged with murder. But as bad as it looks, that's not what worries her the most. It's only a matter of time before someone from her old life recognizes her and destroys the new life she's so hard to build. So yeah, she's worried about her past, but meanwhile, so anyway, Things We Do in the Dark. And this is The Apothecary's Garden by Jeanette Lines. And the enthralling story about the mystical charm of flowers and supernatural power of love. Takes place in Victorian Canada, actually. Touring circuses, seances, in a world powered by steam engines. But in Belleville, a 28-year-old spinster barely scrapes by selling flowers from her garden at the train station. So one day, a glamorous couple steps off the train, and the lady is a famed spirit medium, accompanied by her handsome but disfigured assistant, Robert. So yeah, it's a beautiful cover. So it sounded very interesting. Now Ruth Ware, I got the It Girl. So I read 3 of her books. 2 of them I really didn't like too much. I guessed the person fairly quickly. The one that was One by One and Into the Woods, I didn't really like those ones too much. The Girl in Cabin 10 I did like. Now I've heard that one of her better novels are The Death of Mrs. Westaway and The Turn of the Key. I'm just looking up on my shelf there. I heard those are much better, but I've heard good things about this one so far. So we'll see. I decided to get it anyway. Alrighty, and then in Bookoutlet, yeah, they had this one on sale, and I was quite happy because I was looking for it on Amazon, and it was still way too much money. It is a YA fiction, but when you read the synopsis, you're kind of wondering, like, oh, it's kind of a little bit gruesome for YA, but this is Anatomy, a Love Story by Dana Schwartz, and the cover is just stunning. And this takes place in Edinburgh, Scotland, in, I think, the 1880s, I believe, and yeah, Victorian Gothic, Scotland, I'm there. So this young woman, she got kicked out of medical school. The doctor kicked her out because he goes like, no, girls are not allowed in here. And she ends up making a deal with him that if she can pass the medical exam, she will be able to continue her studies. Well, she does have some books in that, but the best way to study the human body, of course, is dissection and that. But it was illegal at the time. So she kind of makes friends with a resurrectionist, which was just a very fancy term for a grave robber. So she can actually study the body, so she can actually pass the exam and all the adventures that ensue. So yeah, it's just a beautiful, beautiful cover. And now previously in a book review, I did, I loved the author's book. I think it's Ewan. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. Ivy. And The Snow Child, I read of hers, and I gave that a 5-star. I just absolutely love this. So this is another book that she wrote. I think she's only written the 2 books. I wish she would read more. Write more. To the Bright Edge of the World. So this takes place in 1885. So this decorated war hero leads a small band of men on an expedition to pierce the untamed Alaska territory. And the wife wants to go, but no, he says, no, you can't. She's pregnant. There's no way she can make the journey. And I think a lot of this is just all the diaries back and forth between the 2 of them. So I just absolutely love The Snow Child, and I really wanted to get this one, and it has gotten very good reviews. Now this one, quite an interesting book. So this is called Journal, The Short Life and Mysterious Death of Amy Zoe Mason. So it actually feels like a journal. It's kind of that spongy feel to it. So it says, found by Christine Atkinson and Joyce Atkinson. So this is, of course, all very fictional, but they made it up to look like a journal that they found in this old desk that they purchased in this antique store. And when they open the journal, it kind of looks like a scrapbook journal. They have all these postcards and that in it, and this is letters that this woman, Amy Mason, had written, and then the 2 people who found this book actually, they actually leave these little notes in here. And basically, as you're reading along, you're finding out how this woman actually died in how and why she died in that. So yeah, I thought it was just a kind of an interesting concept. And this is by Christopher Golden. This is Rhoda Bones, and it looks like an aerial shot of a forest and the road going through here. But when you look closely, you can see it looks like a skull with the eyes and the nose and that sort of thing. So this is kind of a, I don't know if it's really a horror, kind of a thriller. And it takes place in Siberia's Kolyma highway. And these two an American documentary team travels a haunted highway across the frozen tundra of Siberia. Because some very spooky things happen. And yeah, I'm going to say that for wintertime. And this is The House on Vesper Sands by Patrick O'Donnell. A thrilling Gothic mystery. And I do love my Gothic mysteries. It takes place in London in 1893, and this woman kills herself, but this detective thinks there's much more to it. He doesn't feel that she did kill herself, but yeah, it's just, I love Victorian mysteries. This is The Unlikely Escape of I want to say Uriah Heep. And oh, that's a great cover. So this fellow, this has got very good reviews. So it's kind of like a book lover's fantasy kind of book. For his entire life, Charlie has concealed an unusual ability he can't control. He can bring characters from books into the real world. But when his characters start causing trouble throughout the city and threatening to destroy the world, he learns he's not the only one with this ability. So it's up to Charlie and his reluctant older brother to stop them. So yeah, it sounds like a weird concept, but it's gotten like really good reviews on Goodreads. So it sounded like a lot of fun. And then Jenny Colgan. I read her books, The Bookshop on the Corner, The Bookshop on the Shore, I think it was. And this is supposed to be the third book in the series. They said it's not necessary to read the other two stories. This is kind of a standalone, but it does occur on the same island, I guess it is. And some of the characters from those two stories pop up on this one, but you can still read it as a standalone. So yeah, Jenny Colgan, I do like her books. If you just want a light read, nothing too heavy, just kind of like a refresh your brain after reading something heavy and depressing or something, I really do enjoy her books. So Lisa is a nurse, and she decides to switch places with Cormac, who's an Army veteran. They decide to switch places. Lisa lives in London, and Cormac, where's he from? Anyway, Scotland maybe? Anyway, they switch places. And what will happen when a guy from a rural Scottish village and a girl from the bustle of urban London switch jobs and discover each other? So that's 500 miles from you. And then this is The River by Peter Heller. Just look at that cover. Oh, this is so nice. So these two men have been best friends since college, and they both love mountains, books, fishing. Wynne is a gentle giant, and Jack is a more rugged person raised on a ranch. And then they go canoeing up in northern Canada, and a wildfire starts. So one night, as the fire is advancing, they hear a man and woman arguing in the riverbank further down. And the next day, the man appears on the river paddling alone. but they're kind of wondering, okay, where's the women? So yeah, it sounded quite good. That cover is just stunning. Now this one I bought a while ago. I was looking for a book, and then I came across this one. I thought, I really got to read this one. The cover is absolutely stunning, and I found this on Bookoutlet, and this is The Illumination of Ursula Flight by Anna Marie Crowhurst. And oh, it's just a beautiful, beautiful cover there. So this one takes place, I believe, in the 1800s, and no, sorry, the 1600s. Sorry, it was 1660 something. And Ursula is, of course, a very intelligent girl. She wants to learn a lot, but of course back then, they just did not educate girls. But her father is very forward-thinking, and he does teach her reading, writing, astrology, etc. And she wants to become a famous playwright, but of course she is expected to just marry and have a family and that sort of thing. So it's sort of a coming of age about a spirited young woman struggling to lead a creative life. So yeah, that sounded so good. Anything that takes place in medieval times, I'm right there. And I'm always interested in books that take place in like asylums in previous centuries and that, and the treatment, and it's always quite interesting to read. This is The Mad Girls of New York by Maya Rodale, and this is actually based on the true story of Nellie Bly, who she was a writer, I think for the New York Times, I believe. But of course, then if you were a writer, you had to do like, you know, covering flower shows and all that kind of stuff. But she really wanted to be a serious journalist like the men. So she actually volunteered to go into the asylum as a patient and write about her experiences and what life was really like for women in these asylums. So yeah, it's based on, I've always was quite fascinated that I was wanting to read more about Nellie Bly and what happened in there. So yeah, so this is sort of a speculative fiction, but it'd be very interesting to read because I'm sure some of it is based on her actual writing. And oh, speaking of asylums, so this is a nonfiction called Damnation Island: The Poor, Sick, Mad, and Criminal in 19th Century New York. And on a 2-mile stretch of land in New York's East River is a 19th century horror story unfolding. So they, I guess today it's called Roosevelt Island, then it was called Blackwell's. So it was a lunatic asylum, 2 prisons, and a number of hospitals, and it just goes through the history of the island when it was an asylum and prison, etc., and the treatment of the people there. So yeah, it just sounds quite fascinating. This is another circus book, The Ladies of the Secret Circus by Constance Sayers, which is on Bookoutlet. And yeah, I went to the circus when I was a kid, and I don't remember too much about it, actually. So there's 2 time periods. Paris in 1925, about this woman whose family is, it's her family's circus, and then in Virginia in 2004, and how the 2 stories connect. A really pretty cover. So I do love witch books. I don't know, I'm just kind of fascinated by their stories. This is The Great Witch of Brittany by Louisa Morgan. And I do have another book of hers. Just can't remember the name of it now. This takes place in Brittany in 1762. There hasn't been a witch born to the Ocheria clan for generations. According to the elders, that line is dead, leaving the clan vulnerable to persecution. And then Ursule has been raised on stories of witches on the past, but the only magic she knows are the false spells her mother weaves. So yeah, something about witch stories. But yeah, I guess this is kind of based on the fact that there may have been actual witches. So, and then this is Alice Hoffman. I haven't read any of her books actually. And this is the prequel to the Practical Magic series, which I haven't read any of, but I heard that you can read this first before the other books. And this is Magic Lessons. So I guess the other books take place in the present day, and then this one goes back to the original bloodline in the 1600s and that. So yeah, I was going to read this one and then maybe read the others. I heard this one's pretty good, so we'll give her a try. And then this one looked really interesting on Bookoutlet. The Resurrectionists by E.B. Hudspeth. So this one, again, it's all fictional, but it reads as though someone had found this this book somewhere, and it goes over in 1870s in Philadelphia, this doctor, and so let me see here, Philadelphia, a city home to the controversial surgeon Dr. Spencer Black. He's the son of a grave robber, and he develops an unconventional hypothesis that what if the world's most celebrated mythological beasts, mermaids, minotaurs, etc., were in fact the evolutionary ancestors of humankind. So the first half of the book is the journal of this surgeon, all his diary entries, etc. And then the second half of the book is all these diagrams that they supposedly found about all these mythical creatures, and he does all the muscles, names all the muscles, and names all the bones, like so. So I thought that was kind of interesting, actually. And just a couple more. This is The Phlebotomist. Again, a really neat cover. So this takes place in the future. So there was I think a nuclear war, and the harvest was instituted to pass blood to those affected by radiation. But this charitable act has led to a society segregated entirely by blood type. So yes, that sounded kind of interesting. And this is The Second Life of Muriel West by Amanda Skenendor. So this is a young woman who her family is well off, and she's a socialite in the 1920s, but then she discovers she has leprosy, and she has to be taken to this isolated in this institute with other people who have leprosy. Sorry everyone, I edited the last part. I accidentally deleted it actually, but I was on my last book anyhow, about the woman who had leprosy, the socialite, and her experiences isolated with other people who had leprosy and that sort of thing. So it was my last book anyhow. But yeah, I do love my history. So anyway, so yeah, I'll wrap it up, and yeah, happy Book Lovers Day. I hope you can get some reading in today, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.